So, how's the job going?
Good. It's going good. We've got everything set up. We're ready to go when we open.
Good, glad to hear it. You, still doing that trivia thing with your friends?
Yep. Every Wednesday. It's a lot of fun, and we always do really well.
Nice, good work. Look down for me. Okay, thanks. So, what's today's episode called again?
It's called My Friend Redbot.
Ah, focusing on the robot, eh? That ought to be good.
Not bad. You'll hear more in the review.
Yep, sure will. And there. Yeah. Alright, kid, all done. Take a look at the gamepad to get a look at yourself.
Wow, Chomsky, great work. I think you've outdone yourself this time.
I do pretty good work, I think. So, how about a tip?
You want a tip? How about don't ask for money from the people who already feed you electricity for free?
I guess you're right.
Hello there, heroes! I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review. First of all, a little housekeeping to take care of. I want to thank you all so much for your topic suggestions for next week's video and for the hiatus. I have already added some of your topic suggestions to my hiatus video list. You want to know which ones? You're going to have to tune in to my review of Ninja Steel episodes 7 and 8 on Monday, March 20th to find out. However, as for next week's video, I've decided to go ahead and pick my own topic. So Nick is going to be doing the Kids' Choice Awards on Saturday, March 11th. However, while they will be showing us an exclusive look at the new Power Rangers movie, the show is not nominated for any awards. So, I'm going to fill in the gap. Tune in on Monday, March 13th for the first annual Shawnees. What I'm going to be doing is selecting a list of categories that I probably won't do full top 10 videos on, select 3 nominees, and then pick a winner. And you heroes can actually play along and help me out. In the comments down below, leave me your suggestion for some categories for awards. Now remember, I'm not looking for stuff that would be better as an actual full top 10 list. So I'm not looking for things like Best Red Ranger. More stuff like Coolest Ranger or Best Under Pressure. I think this is going to be a really fun video, as long as I remember to read the cards right. Alright, so all that aside, are you folks now ready to hear the story of a robot that reads children's books, a dog that understands English, and a girl that communicates better with the dog than the robot? Here's a look at the 6th episode of Ninja Steel, My Friend Redbot. First things first, I need to backtrack a little bit on something I said last week. This week's intro narration is precisely the same as last week's, and that leads me to believe that the footage that I said was new was probably already in there and I just didn't notice. So, goody gumdrops, the intro narration has finally reached the point where it's the same exact thing every single week. Thank goodness the children won't be confused. It is time for the Summer Cove High School Moonlight Dance. What's a Moonlight Dance? Lord only knows. According to the episode, it seems to be a dance where nobody actually dresses up. About 15 people show up to it, and it happens at night, so moonlight? Victor is helping to set up for the dance and wants to avoid the mishap he had last year when he took a little swim in the punch bowl. Meanwhile, Redbot is reading a children's book out loud to himself. I realize as a robot that Redbot is probably gender neutral, but they tend to give him a male-sounding voice, so I'm going to be going with male pronouns for him. I hope that's okay with everybody. Anyway, Cody interrupts him wanting to play. Haley apologizes for her dog's interruption and muses that Redbot probably doesn't know all that much about friendship. Yeah, she's probably right. I mean, he's probably been hanging out with and protecting Brody for the past 10 years, because Brody's paying him or something. Anyway, Haley says she needs to go and set up for the dance, and Redbot puts together his children's book about attending a ball and this dance, and gallantly asks Haley to go with him. Haley absolutely brushes this off, saying Redbot's just a robot and he can't go to a dance, even going as far as to say that he must be joking, and he's so funny. Oh, Haley, brutal. Up on the Warrior Dome, Galaxy Warriors actually gets off to a really fun start with a choreographed dance routine by Cosmo and the Kudabots. Cosmo and the Kudabots actually sounds like a cool name for a band. It ends with yet another stupid fart joke, but it would have been a really cool, kind of neat, do something for ratings, nice change start to the show. However, this was all just a demonstration of the power of the monster of the week this time, Bad Pipes. And for the record, I love everything about this monster. He has a cool design, his main weapon is actually an original Power Rangers weapon for him, and he's voiced by none other than Mick himself, Kelson Henderson. And Kelson absolutely nails the Scottish accent that gives this monster a fun and unique personality and sound. That's how you do a monster voice. Though I do wonder how a monster from space is supposed to be Scottish. I had a random realization this week. I actually like the Ninja Steel theme song so much that I don't skip through it most weeks, even if I'm watching the episode on the DVR. It's really pretty good. Back at the school, Victor realizes that he needs to get in some practice for his dance moves. He looks to his right and calls for music, and Sarah starts playing it. As Victor starts dancing, Sarah leaves the booth and walks up from Victor's left. But then they realized that wasn't right, so they gave her a second chance to walk up, and this time she walked up from Victor's right. Whoops! Victor is actually a pretty talented dancer, which could be kind of a subtle secondary moral for this episode. Trust in your own abilities, as we'll see a little bit later on. He just gets a bit over-enthusiastic and spins himself into the food table, knocking a large bowl of punch all over Brody and Haley. Yay, the Rangers are in on the slapstick. At least, I think it's punch. The way the color coats them all over, it really seemed like more like half-melted Jell-O. The two head down to the base to clean up and realize that Redbot is missing. Brody asks Cody where Redbot went, and when the dog barks, he asks Haley to translate. Of course, Haley doesn't speak dog, but as we're going to see in this episode, that's not necessarily true the other way around. Brody finds the book that Redbot had been reading and reads the one line that would actually move this plot along, the prince asking the girl to the dance. Haley points out that, hey, Redbot asked her to go to the dance, and she said no because he's just a robot. Brody says that she might have hurt his feelings because he is advanced enough to have emotions. This apparently very suddenly guilts Haley enough into going to look for Redbot with Cody. She has Cody smell the book to pick up the incredibly unique scent of robot metal, and he takes off. Cody stops at one of Redbot's footprints. For some reason. I mean, yes, it's a clue, but he was looking after the robot's scent, and wouldn't that have traveled further than that? Because he's not there. But anyway, it's a good thing that he did stop there, because that's where Bad Pipes attacks. By the way, I love the monster's name, too, Bad Pipes. Everything about this monster is awesome. This is the best monster we've had on Power Rangers in a while. He uses his bagpipes to take control of Haley and very nearly gets her power star when Redbot jumps in and kicks the monster, stopping her. Haley instamorphs, but basically gets beaten around by Bad Pipes. This is even a good monster fight, as he actually uses smart strategy, like throwing his bagpipes into the air, knowing that Haley would want to jump to grab them, and hitting her in the chest when she jumped. Bad Pipes shoots at Haley, but Redbot blocks the shots with his foot. Haley says, out loud, "We need some kind of distraction." And then Cody runs in and kicks dirt on the monster's face. Redbot still has one functioning jet boot, so they take off, but just like in the first episode with Brody, they crash. Cody then finds the two and wakes Haley, but Redbot is suffering a serious system malfunction. Code yellow eyes, apparently. And Haley's datacom is busted. Those things are fragile as tissue paper, I swear. So she takes it off and places it on the dog's collar and tells him to go find the Rangers. And he understands, and does so. In the meantime, Haley apparently constructs some kind of battlefield military cot with the sticks and leaves that were laying around. She knows how to do that because of Shut Up! Redbot reactivates, his time of unconsciousness apparently a Borg-like period of self-repair. He actually apologizes for the rough landing, which Haley quickly dismisses and thanks him for saving her. When he says that it's nice to be appreciated, she realizes that he really does have emotions. She apologizes for dismissing his dance request out of hand and says that she didn't realize that he was so human. He says that he's not human, just a collection of gears and circuits. But Haley says the ability to feel, to be able to laugh and cry, that's what makes someone human. Later on in the cons. Redbot is fully mobile again, so Haley activates her Megamorph Cycle Power Star. Couldn't she have done this anyway? I mean, I know Redbot was unconscious, but it seems to me it would be a lot easier to secure him to the cycle with vines than to construct a cot out of sticks and leaves. She instamorphs, again, because why would we want to see a solo morph sequence in a Rangers Focus episode, right? And they take off. Cody gets to the school and the Rangers see Haley's busted datacom and put the pieces together. Calvin asks the dog to take them to Haley, and he understands and does so. And this is what I'm talking about with Cody. Haley apparently can't speak dog, but it seems like Cody is pretty fluent at understanding English. He follows some very specific instructions in this episode. I will buy this if they eventually give Haley some kind of ninja steel enhanced ability to communicate with animals, though Cody also followed Calvin's instructions. Cody leads the Rangers into the woods, but stops them right before Bad Pipe shoots them. One of the shots creates a giant explosion, which just so happens to let Haley and Redbot see where they are. Ripcon is with Bad Pipes this time, who takes control of the Rangers with his music and demands their power stars. While he's still playing, by the way, talking and playing bagpipes, that's a talent. They take out their power stars and start slowly walking towards Ripcon, who for the most part just stands there and waits for them to get to him. I am getting really tired of the Rangers winning because the villains are stupid. Go over and take their stars and then leave. I mean, at least Sloger was smart enough to actually go take their stars. He just didn't leave. Ripcon, a general, didn't even do that much. So, of course, Haley comes flying in, blasts Bad Pipes, and plows into Ripcon. The other Rangers are freed, and they all prepare to destroy the bagpipes, but Ripcon does a double sword doom strike, which apparently loses a lot of strength between Haley and the others behind her. She was morphed, got demorphed, and knocked down. They weren't morphed to begin with, but also just got knocked down. However, before Bad Pipes can reclaim his instrument, Cody grabs it and moves it a little. How did he know to grab it? And why didn't he just bring it all the way over to Haley? Anyway, the Rangers pull their rivet rifles and destroy the thing. Ripcon says, "I'm going to crush you!" And Brody responds, "No, it's not crushing time. It's morphin' time." I thought that was a pretty cool line. We get a 5-way Ranger morph, and I'm beginning to wonder if the show even bothered shooting full-resolution morphing sequences for each Ranger. I'm starting to think that they shot these quarter-screen sized versions for each, and the only one that they did a second one for was Brody, which they made smaller so they could put it in a 5-way morph. But really, this is just me trying to rationalize why the show has made this absolutely baffling decision to move away from giving us full-screen solo Ranger morphs. Ripcon and Brody go one-on-one, while Bad Pipes gives Ripcon some space by running to a nearby beach. He pulls out a large fan, gee, almost like that was his original weapon in the Sentai footage, and starts beating the other Rangers 78 shades of stupid. Meanwhile, Ripcon is clearly stronger than Brody, but Brody starts using ninja techniques like turning into a scarecrow in order to stay in the fight. Brody manages to turn the tide on Ripcon by using a steel strike, which makes the general retreat. In the meantime, Bad Pipe suffers a very sudden power loss, going from easily beating 4 Rangers to being destroyed by a Hyper Arrow strike from 2 of them. Brody catches up with the rest of the team, Bad Pipes gets gigantified, the Orange Ranger wonders what the yellow button does, and the Rangers summon their Zords and go straight to the Megazord. The Zord fight this week was your classic, stereotypical Neo Saban episode after a Zord debut. The original Megazord is ineffective, so let's summon the new Zord. The Rumble Tusk Ninja Steel Megazord uses its trunk to break off Bad Pipe's nose. And in what I thought was a really great touch, for the rest of the Zord fight, Bad Pipe's tongue did a stuffy voice. The Rangers used the 9-word Axe Slash to defeat him. On the Warrior Dome, Galvanax gives Ripcon the standard "don't fail me again or else" speech, but that's not what really matters here, because after that, this episode takes a left on the corner of dark and whoa-ho-ho! So Madamodius uses a magic hammer to open a secret chamber on the ship. Inside, she has a human strapped into a chair in some kind of mind control or transfer device. She says that this person is going to be her key to overthrowing Galvanax and Ripcon, and it's going to involve the Gold Ninja Power Star. So the Rangers are now at the Moonlight Dance, with Sarah and Calvin showing that they are very talented dancers. This was a very nice, subtle touch for the show, as both of their actors were once contestants on So You Think You Can Dance and have extensive dancing backgrounds. Monty made Victor a pair of automatic dancing shoes, but of course they go haywire for comedic effect, and perhaps that really subtle, understated moral about trusting your own abilities. Haley steps away from the dance to go give Redbot a dance, which was a nice gesture. The other Rangers follow her, and it turns into a Ranger dance party, with Peter Sudarso throwing in a little star-flinging ninja dance reference. So I guess I'll fling in some scoring stars. Episode 6, My Friend Redbot. Pros, more original footage, nice character focus for Redbot, and a dark turn at the end. Cons, sloppy writing leads to lots of questions, the moral is really confusing, and a boring Zord fight. This episode was the opposite of last week, so My Friend Redbot is back to 3 stars out of 5.
Oh, hang on just a second, I just found something out that's going to adjust this episode's score. I found out on Twitter that during the 9-word Axe Slash finisher, they're playing the Dino Charge theme instead of the Ninja Steel theme. Now, in and of itself, this isn't really a big deal, seeing as Dino Charge does have a good theme and it's good energetic finisher music. However, this is something that the show has done before, playing the Samurai theme with the word Samurai Forever during Megaforce as they finished Malcor. So, I'm not going to let this slide this time. My Friend Redbot loses half a star for this mistake, going down to 2.5 stars out of 5.
Last week there was more of a reason, but this week the trend continued without that reason, so I feel the need to point this out. And I sort of called this, like I've said before, but at the time I was really sort of half joking. We are really seeing an extensive increase in original footage this year. And I think what I said about that, even half joking, was right on the money. A lot of the Ninja's fight footage is so goofy and nonsensical that it has to be shot around. I mean, this week they gave the Monster of the Day an original Power Rangers weapon, so pretty much all of that fight footage was original, not to mention the stuff with the Megamorph cycle. Funny enough, I consider this sort of an odd positive to what I considered the negative decision to adapt Ninja, because we're getting more original footage, which is always a good thing. Redbot is a character that spent most of the early part of this season in the background, so even though this was Haley's focus episode, it was nice to see him get some more attention. It kind of seems like they're starting him down this Data-like quest to become more human, starting out with reading this children's book and emulating it, and then realizing that he does have some human qualities. I hope that we get to learn more about this robot, both his past and his future. And hoo-hoo boy, the end of the episode. I was literally stunned on a show that I keep chiding for being too childlike. To have this episode end with a human strapped into a chair and suffering, being changed and manipulated by a villain, Matamodius is really all the villains have going for them at this point, and it was nice to see another slight hint to this Gold Ranger scheme again before we actually see the Gold Ranger in a couple of weeks. But man, oh man, did I have to hold back on the nitpicks this week. Here's just a small list, some of which I mentioned, some of which I didn't. The Ranger's base apparently has a Star Trek door that only opens when you actually want to walk through it. Haley has a dog that for the most part understands English perfectly. Haley apparently has military-level survival training. Her dog can apparently distinguish the smell of one robot from any other metal. Sarah is apparently a magical unicorn that can walk up to people from multiple directions at the same time. I've told you guys before that when I start reviewing an episode, I watch it twice. The first time straight through, just to get my general reaction to it, and then the second time pausing it to take my notes. However, in this case, I had to pause the first run of the episode at least 10 or so times to go, wait, what? And nowhere was that wait, what feeling stronger than this episode's moral, which I was unable to figure out. If the moral of the story, based on the scene where it seemed to be presented, was having feelings is what makes you human, that's not actually true. Not in this case. Redbot is not human. He's a robot, 100%. Now, he has value, he has meaning, he is a part of their team. But he's not human, not even sort of human, like he actually says. Purely 100% robot with emotions. The most sensible moral I was able to draw out of this episode is being different doesn't mean you're not human, but on one hand that feels far too simplistic and obvious, and on the other, it feels like it could actually be far too deep for a children's show. Because if you really start digging into that statement, you start getting into issues like racism, sexism, homophobia, etc. Again, it really gave me kind of a Star Trek The Next Generation vibe with Data and his quest to become human. But I feel like Star Trek handled that a lot better, and Data didn't even have emotions. I mean, for the most part, usually kind of, Star Trek fans, you know what I'm talking about. Again, it might be neat to see Redbot go on a very similar quest to become as human as he possibly can. It just feels like the moral this episode was trying to give was, just because you're a robot doesn't mean you're not human. But that's actually exactly what it does mean. And remember when I said that this was the classic, stereotypical second episode after a Zord debut Zord fight? There's another word for that. Formulaic. As soon as the Rangers summoned their Zords, I said, Megazord's getting beat, call the new Zord, form the new Megazord, and win. And then I sat back and watched it happen. And I'm not proud of being able to predict that. It shows that the writers need to change things up a little. Last week I said that basically the strength of the plot overcame any of the issues with the writing. This week, it was the other way around. There was a very good quality focus episode here, both for Haley and Redbot, even Cody too a little bit, you could say. But that was all lost for me when I had to pause the episode every 2 minutes to try to figure out what the heck was going on. This episode suffered the death of 1,000 tiny cuts. Is it possible for us to get good writing and tight writing on the show at the same time, please? Well, that is going to wrap up another Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review. Thank you all so much as always for watching. Make sure to like the video by clicking the like button right down below. Let me know what you thought of this episode and of my review of it in the comments down below. And also remember to leave comments giving me suggestions for award categories for the Shawnees. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see my reviews every week, and also make sure you ring that bell icon so you're notified of when I post my reviews. Been having a little trouble here and there getting them up on Monday, so maybe best to ring that bell so you see when I actually get the review posted. And unfortunately, YouTube fan funding is now a thing of the past, so the blue support button is not something that you can go click anymore. But during the hiatus, I am going to announce further channel funding options. I will see you guys next week for the Shawnees, and until then, may the power protect you. Okay, so all that aside, are you guys ready to hear the story? This time's is precisely the same as last week's intro narration. Ooh, Haley, brutal. so brutal it made me forget. Cosmo and the Kudabots, which actually in itself sounds like a pretty cool name for a band. If this would have... He looks to his right to do the... Trust in your own abilities, as we'll see later on in this episode. Victor's actually a pretty good dancer, as we see. Victor is actually a pretty good dancer. Why am I screwing this up? Victor is actually a pretty good dancer, which... They head down to the base to clean up and realize that Redbot is gone. And when the dog barks, he asks Haley to translate. She has Cody smell the book, and I think I was right, but I don't know because this apparently goes Haley into. Bagpipes uses his bagpipe music. Haley instamorphs, but for example, throwing the bagpipes up in the air, knowing that Haley would jump to try and grab them, and hitting her in the chest when she jumped. Like throwing the bagpipes up in the air, knowing that Haley would jump for them, and then hitting her in the chest when things happen. Then to construct a cot out of sticks and leaves, right? 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 What's the deal with these cots being made out of sticks and leaves? I mean, come on. Ripcon is with Bagpipes this time, who takes control of the Rangers with his music and tells them to give up their power star. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the Rangers pull their ribbon rifles and shoot the thing, destroying it. Last week there was more of a kind of, Star Trek fans, kind of sort of. Anyway, I forgot the rest of the line. For the most part, you Star Trek fans, you know what I'm talking about. Usually, kind of. Anyway. That's going to wrap up another Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review. Thank you all so much, as always, for watching. Make sure to click the like button right down below to let me know that you liked the video. Let me know what you thought of this review and of my